Good evening, everybody. I would like to call to order the regular meeting of the Monee Village Board of Trustees, September 27th, 2023. It is 6:35. If I could please ask Mr. Richard Sterling from St. Boniface Parish to come up for the invocation. Yes, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here to lead you in prayers. I'd like to start in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Loving Father, we come to you today to make ourselves 100% available. Everything we have, everything we do, we lay at your feet. Take what you want to take, give what you want to give. Command us in all things. We will do whatever you ask. Transform us and transform our lives so that we may become the very best version of ourselves and lead others to you with our life and our love. Also, Lord, let any decisions made here today and everything we do begin with your inspiration, continue with your help, and reach perfection through your guidance. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Trustee Gonzalez. Trustee Horn.
Here.
Trustee Henson.
Present.
Trustee Rakes.
Present.
Trustee Wilson.
Here.
Trustee Udris.
Present.
Open to the public, agenda items only.
Good evening, trustees. My name is Colleen Costello, and I live in Gorman Farms. Once again, I'm coming up to speak against about my strenuous opposition to the special use permit for Second Place Church on Ridgeland. I hope that the information that was forwarded justifies the request to oppose the variance request. I had the chance to review the meeting held on last Monday. Unfortunately, I was not made aware of it, or I certainly would have responded to Trustees Rick's request if anyone had an opposition. While watching the emotional and teary presentation, I was particularly struck by the admission of the DeCenzos that they had been operating the business for nearly 2 years. And I'm curious why a special use permit has waited so long to be applied for. The DeCenzos in that meeting talked about how they would make sure that the children were taken care of by dotting the I's and crossing the T's, but yet they haven't done so, and I'm curious if they've been skirting a number of numerous laws, ordinances, and codes, not only within our village, but within the state. I've done some additional research with how the Illinois State Board of Education defines homeschooling. It's provided me more questions than answers. I've also done some research with DCFS regarding how they regulate child care facilities and those organizations that are running places for children. Again, more questions than answers. But really, with all that being said, we're not here to debate the merits of the business, the school, or the church. And I think that we've kind of conflated a lot of that in some of the emotional testimony that's been brought forward thus far. And I just hope that we can get back to the core issue of the variances. This is a state residential, and those of us who live over in that area, have tolerated a lot of, change. We've got Amazon, we've got a lot of warehouses and various things like that have impacted our traffic patterns and things like that. A lot of us have been almost hit multiple times with people coming out of Amazon, as well as the reckless driving down Ridgeland. So, this is going to add to the traffic and things like that. But the core of the variance is that this is a state residential, and the way that our codes are currently written, that the primary structure should go up first. They're asking for a variance against that, but they haven't really clearly defined all of the attributes of the project and where it's actually going against the code and what specific codes they're trying to ask a variance for. They've kind of laid out this, beautiful dream-filled plan, which is great, but really we need to be looking at the specifics of the code, how it's going to be enforced, and the impact of the community. So once again, I'm asking that you reject this particular variance until such time as they can have a more defined and comprehensive plan and engineered in a way that we've seen other organizations that have done some building on that side have come with architectural and engineered plans, knowing the size of the building, the scope of the project, where it's going to sit on the project, where the septic fields are going to be, where the in and out's going to be, and all of those things. So thank you so much for your time.
Good evening, Steve Naprikowski, Beecher resident, second place trustee. Couple of things I just want to touch on, and I know that you guys, we don't take it lightly, the responsibility you guys bear to have to sort through things, and we trust obviously the expertise and experience that you guys bring to it. So some of these comments are more just for public forum versus that really just for you, because I understand that you guys know the scope of what you guys do every day here. So, and we appreciate that. But I'll say, there's something to be said about speculation, right? There's been many comments made up until now, basically saying, what if, right? What if this, what if, I won't bring up all the ones that were brought up in the past, but what if there's something going on that is not appropriate or not up to code or anything, or even with what was just said with the Operation Natural Discovery. But in public opinion, right, those words matter. In reality, what the opposite should have an equal weight, right? Like, what if not? I'll address that stuff in a second, but just by saying what if, there's connotation to that, and it's kind of a noteworthy catch to the public, right? It says, hey, what if, and that's noteworthy, but there's no substance behind it. There's no factual merit to it. So I'm here to say that unless there's something brought forward specifically that we're doing wrong, you can't prove what doesn't exist. So I'm here to say that we're operating to our knowledge within all code, within all regulation. Natural Discovery there's nothing wrong with what they're doing, and people may not like it, I get it, or they may have concerns, but those concerns are speculation in the unknown. It would have been nice if there was opportunity for people to come out and get that information in order to make an educated assessment before making speculative remarks. But now we're in that what if mode right now. So I just encourage you guys. You guys, the public forum, the public comments that you guys have to sort through, and you have the luxury of being able to look at what's been presented factually and substantially. So I think that when you sort through all these things, there's nothing that's been presented to show that we've done anything against code, against regulation, illegal, or anything of that nature. And I'm here to say that we haven't. And if there is something that is out there, we will correct it. We are human. There are some things that once it's brought to our attention, we can do that. But I can't let it just sit out there that these what ifs are somehow substantiated, because they're not. So I'd appreciate you guys' consideration and understanding that there's been nothing to show that we've done anything wrong, and we're just here to. And I appreciate the comments that we are here for a yurt, right? The whole phase that we've talked about is kind of ancillary to this. We're here for a yurt, and the whole reason we're here is because we understand that we can't, under current regulation and code, we can't present it, or we can't build it without the main building. That's what we're here for, and that's what this process is set up to do. You guys have the authority to grant us that. So I'm not sure I understand where the problem is, other than we're trying to go within what was created within the village in order for us to be able to do this. And if you guys approve it, it would be authorized to do it in accordance with what you guys decide, if that makes sense. I guess I'll leave it at that, but I just, again, I appreciate your comments, or I appreciate your consideration and taking these comments under advisement. And if there's any other questions that you guys have, please feel free to ask, and we can address those at any time. Thank you.
Okay. Moving on then to the consent agenda. May I please have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Rakis?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udress?
Yes.
Okay, moving on to the clerk's report.
Thank you, Mayor Bogues. A couple things before I move on to the swearing in. I know it's actually been a couple weeks now, but I did want to give my report from the September 13th meeting. I wanted to thank all of our Parks and Rec staff, our officers at EMA, the officials, and the village staff and volunteers, and everyone that came out to make our Fall Fest fun and successful, and as well as the Nerf wars and the additional things that were added. The kids had a ball with that, so thank you as well. I know many did ask about the Monee High School band and then not performing in the parade this year, but they had an awesome opportunity. They were invited to Northwestern University to play halftime with them during the performance, and so they did. It was a really great turnout, a really good job. It was over 1,100 students, and they had a really great time, and Northwestern won, so that was a good thing too. The fireworks and everything were awesome, so thank you everyone who participated and made that what it was. Also, we did have the pleasure of, I should say myself, I did have the pleasure of going along with several of the trustees, department heads, to the IML this past weekend for some brushing up on some of the different terms, different laws and codes, and the OMA and everything. It was a really great opportunity. I'm glad to see so many that was able to be a part of it. I will now move on to the swearing in. I will start with Connie and then move to Mary Janik. Okay, if you can raise your right hand and repeat after me, insert your name after I.
Okay.
I
I, Connie Montalvo,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
and bear true faith
and bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United
to
States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois
and the territory,
and the territory,
institutions,
institutions,
and facilities thereof,
and facilities thereof,
both public and private,
both public and private,
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I am about to enter,
upon which I am about to enter,
and I do further swear
and I do further swear
that I do not advocate,
that I do not advocate,
nor have I
nor have I
been a member of any political party,
been any member of any political party,
organization
organization
that advocates
that advocates
the overthrow of the government
the overthrow of the
of
government
the United States
of the United States
or of this state
or of this state
by force or violence,
by force or violence,
and that during such time
and during such time
I am an affiliate with the Village of Monee.
I am an affiliate of Monee.
That I-
Sorry.
No problem. That I'm affiliate with the Village of Monee,
That I am an affiliate with the Village of Monee.
EMA organization.
EMA organization.
I will not advocate
I will not advocate
nor become a member of
nor become a member of
any political party
any political party
or organization
or organization
that advocates the overthrow
that advocates the overthrow
of the government of the United States
of the government of the United States
or this state
or this state
by force or violence.
by force or violence.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And if I may have Mary Jack.
You're just gonna get her badge and then we'll take a picture.
Okay. Thank you. I'll go up to the side. Welcome to our team.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're
Oh,
welcome.
thank you.
Congratulations.
Show it to the paper.
Where's the paper? Oh, sorry. Thank you, Mayor.
Hey, we're gonna get the
Oh,
baby.
you're not done
Oh,
yet. You're not done
oh,
yet.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, right. I know, right?
All right, Jim, don't go too far. One more.
Hello, how are you? Okay. If you can raise your right hand, repeat after me, insert your name after I
I, Mary Janik,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
and bear in true faith
and bear in true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois
to the Constitution of the State of Illinois
and the territory,
and the territory,
institutions,
institutions,
and facilities thereof,
and the facilities thereof,
both public and private,
both public and private,
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
and that I take this obligation freely
and I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I'm about to enter.
upon which I'm about to enter,
And I do further swear
and I do further swear
that I do not advocate,
I do not advocate,
nor am I,
nor am I,
nor have I
or have I
been a member of any political party,
been any political party,
been a
part
member
been a member
of any political party
of any political party
or organization
or organization
that advocates the overthrow
or that advocates the overthrow
of the government
of the government
of the United States
of the United States
or of this state
or of this state
by force or violence,
by force of violence,
and that during such time,
during such time,
and that during such time, one more time, and that
and that
during such time,
during such time
as I am affiliate
as I am affiliate
with the Village of Monee,
with the Village of Monee
EMA organization,
organization,
I will not advocate
I will not advocate
nor become
nor become
a member of any political party
a member of any political party
or organization
or organization
that advocates
that advocates
the overthrow of the government
the overthrow of the government
of the United States
of the United States
or of this state
or of this state
by force or violence.
by force or violence.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's always-
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'd just like to quickly add, good evening, Board, that Connie is one of our original CERT members from 2015, so it's great to have her back in an EMA role. Mary comes with us with a lot of education and special training, so it'll be great to tap into that. And it's great to see our agency grow. We're definitely headed in the right direction, and we're firing on all cylinders, and I'm just honored to be part of it. Thank you.
Congrats.
Congratulations again, and end of report.
Thank you. Under my reports, please, Board, the most important thing coming up now is the holiday schedule for our board meetings. So I've provided everybody with a calendar, so, right? So I will take any thoughts. My thought is keep our November 8th meeting. Do not have a November 22nd. And then the same thing for December, keep the 13th, but do not have the 27th. So I'm open for suggestions if anybody has anything different.
I'm personally good with anything that you have. I'll be there.
Fine with me, no problems.
All right.
And I would just say the same thing, just so long as if we need to call an extra meeting
Oh,
for
yeah.
anything pending that might come up.
Agreed.
Okay, beautiful. All right, so can I motion that we have one meeting November 8th, one meeting December 13th, with the ability to have a special meeting in between if so needed.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Henson.
Yes.
Trustee Rakes.
Yes.
Trustee Wilson.
Yes.
Trustee Udris.
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Yes.
Trustee Horn.
Yes.
Thank you, Board. Moving on now to the officials' reports. Public Works, Trustee Horn.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A couple items of interest to the community. You may have seen Public Works out this past week planting trees. And we have a variety of trees that they are planting, and they are going out to all the different neighborhoods in the village. We have a mixture of white oak, red oak, bur oak, elm, red maple, autumn blaze maple, and another one called, which I've never heard of, Kentucky coffee tree. I don't know if you've heard of that. I like the name, but so you'll see those around town. You'll see some new, this is the prime time to put in new trees, and they weather the winter and plenty of water, of course, and then they'll start blooming in the spring. So look out for those. Monday, October 2nd, just a reminder, water bills are due, and that's coming up rather quickly. That's next week. Also on Monday, October 2nd, the Public Works will be out doing tree chipping, weather dependent. That is the end of my report.
Thank you very much. Moving on to Parks and Recreation, Trustee Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mayor. So first of all, I'd like to say thank you to the village for our trek down to the IML conference for most of the trustees and I last week. Fount of information, even though we've been doing it for many, many years. Every year there's pretty something special and gives us an even longer to-do list. So I'm very grateful and thank you for that. And our Parks and Recreation report. We have a full month of programs planned for October. Don't forget about our before and after school care. We have a few openings left for that. We have a design and unwind craft projects program, mini pumpkin painting, and a painting class. There's plush workshops, so you can make your own little stuffed animal. Taekwondo and dance classes for children and teens. There's kids fitness program. We have a tween and teen after school program starting up. We have a new teen youth council. So for almost 2 decades now, we've been talking about teens and what the teens need to do here. So I am very proud to be able to talk about this one. So if you have teens or tweens that want to get involved and do something within the village, so please check that out as well. We also have adult taekwondo and hapkido. We have yoga and Zumba, and our October senior luncheon being held at Bolt Field on October 25th. From noon to 2 p.m. The fee is $7 per person. And all of these programs and happenings, you can take part. Please call the Parks Department at, of course, 534-8302. End of report.
Thank you very much.
Oh, wait, one last one I forgot. And the Halloween Happenings is coming up very quickly, too. So remember Halloween Happenings and our trunk or treat that takes place outside the pavilion. So if you wanted to take part in either one of those, please call, again, the same number, 708-534-8302.
Thank you. Finance, Trustee Rakes.
Thank you, Mayor. Reminder, the last day to submit property tax relief applications is Friday, September 29th at 4 p.m. Property tax relief checks will be available according to last name as follows. A through P Thursdays throughout the month of October, Q through Z Thursdays throughout the month of October. All last names are available for pickup on Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. throughout the month of October. 764 applications have been received and 640 applications have been approved. End of report.
Thank you very much. Moving on to economic development, Trustee Wilson.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. No new business license were issued under Project Magnify Monee. Grading work has begun on Memorial Park at the corner of Governor's Highway and Court Street. I won't spoil it with the details, but keep an eye on it as it's progressing. It's going to be beautiful. Social media update. Check out our social media platforms, including the website, for updated pictures and events that are currently taking place. As Trustee Gonzalez mentioned, last week we had the opportunity to attend IML's 50th anniversary. There was a heavy emphasis on economic development, and there was the common theme that we're not the only ones seeking a grocery store. It's a common trend. It seems to be, there's a lot of food deserts out there, so we're not any different than anyone else that currently doesn't have a grocery store in this current climate. Also, I learned that we took a couple takeaways, a few takeaways actually from it, that we had the 12 ways to expand retail base, and first, have an economic development representative, right? So that you got to start with the representative. We do. We have Director Bill Barnes, who's lead a champion for us in economic development, so that's a plus. Right there, it's a full-time job. This is not something you could dedicate or take somebody from another department and have them kind of fill in and just kind of wing it. This is with purpose, with intent. You have to seek these different businesses, not just any business, right? What businesses are best for the village, what the village are looking for, not just to accept another warehouse, so to speak. Identify what sets our community apart. So we're doing that. We got the Turnabout, and we got the Historical Society, the Heritage Center. So those things we're starting to emphasize and hit home on things that make Monee Monee. And what does that mean to people who are passing through or passing by? So the beautification project, along with also the economic development, the new stores coming in. So all of that takes part in the branding, the new signs, the signage, the entry gateway signs. All of that takes into account when a business looks to establish in a residence or in a city municipality. So we're doing that already. That was a good thing to know that we're doing it. Know your retail trade area. So we have to know what's coming in. Who's visiting Monee? Not just us, the residents, but on a day-to-day what's the transient population day-to-day passing through? We know we got to have Amazon. Obviously, there's a lot of traffic, but who else? Where are Monee residents going to shop? And that information that we have through artificial intelligence and AI Placer, that we're obtaining that information so that we can know how to attract what we're leaving the village for. And that's an important part of what Economic Development Director Bill Barnes is doing. So it's kind of a thankless job because behind the scenes he's filled in a lot of calls. He's dealing with a lot of meetings that sometimes go nowhere. They may die down, but then spark a fire and come back. So we're getting there, and looking behind the scenes, I could tell you we're getting so much closer, especially once we start which we are starting the development and the comprehensive plan, Monee Manhattan and Governor's Highway. So it's more attraction, for the commercial retail, and it's coming. So keep an eye out. There's more to come. And as always, shop Monee when available. End of report, Mayor.
Thank you, Trustee Wilson. Building Services, Trustee Henson.
Thank you, Mayor. A permit was issued for the construction of a new home in Country Club Hills subdivision on Tricia Court. Country Hills subdivision. A new permit was issued for construction of a new home in Country Hills subdivision on Tricia Court. Soul Gem Restaurant, who was operating less than a year at 2586-1 Governors, has decided to close their operations. Also, with the IML this past weekend, I went to some building services seminars, and my eyes were opened on a few things that a lot of towns and villages are having problems with, and some of the same things that we're having. I'd like to myself personally thank all of our building services individuals for being professional, for staying on top of ordinances and codes, and just doing their jobs very, very efficiently. There are some things that I'll be talking with Director Burris about that I have learned, and try and help out the village and everybody so that our officers aren't always the bad guys. End of report.
Thank you. Public Safety, Trustee Udris.
Thank you, Mayor. And I'll speak for myself as well. A huge thank you to the village for the opportunity to attend IML, which stands for Illinois Municipal League. And like Trustee Wilson said, there was a very heavy presence in the sessions for economic development, but along with that, two other things that I was able to attend that I thought were very helpful. And the first was an update from our state legislators, a chance to talk to some of the representatives and some of the senators and voice some of the things that are important to us, some of the things that concern us. It was very refreshing to know that for like Representative DeLuca and Senator DeWitt, both of them started at local government, so that when we talk about the need for help with funding and grant work and everything else, they understand it, they've been there, and they are definitely down there advocating for us. So that was very good to hear. Anthony DeLuca talked about one of the bills that he's working on is also trying to bring a little bit more accountability to some of our youth that decide to use firearms to commit crimes. And he's working very hard to create some more accountability for that and support him 100% on that. The other one that session that we got to attend was a talk about Highland Park and the tragedy that they experienced during their 4th of July parade. And it came from a different point of view that really, for me, made me really stop and think, because we've all talked about and we've heard about the police response and the fire response and the heroics that took place that day. But at the same time, what they talked to us about was that the rest of the village, for the mayor and the trustees and the administrator, the role that we play in such an event, and the work that we can do right then and there to make sure that things roll smoothly. And I look forward to working with both the police department and emergency management to make sure that in the unfortunate event we ever have to look at that, we're prepared. So very humbling to be there and be part of that, and I was very thankful. Moving on to my report, Emergency Management Agency. On September 15th, they assisted the Monee Police and DPW for a semi-truck that had struck some power lines on Court Street at Middle Point. EMA provided 3 traffic units for about 3 hours worth of work there. On September 17th, they assisted Midlothian EMA for a motorcycle rally that had an ending point at Bryan's Place here in town. And just recently on the 26th, EMA also assisted Monee Fire for another semi-truck that also struck some power lines again. That was at Industrial Drive in Cleveland. EMA provided 3 traffic units there also for 3 hours. So a huge thank you to them for that. For Monee Police Department, the Monee police officers are navigating their way through the Safety Act changes, which have drastically changed our paperwork and reporting procedures. The law itself, as well as the state's attorney's office, have added multiple layers of documentation and approval requirements to the arrest process. So we're having to navigate our way through the changes, but we're anticipating a definite impact on our budget for both operations and training. So, end of report.
Thank you very much. Moving on to the attorney's report.
Thank you, Mayor. I have 6 items for the board's consideration, make it 4. The first one is a payment to M&J Underground for work done on Sunset Drive on the water main project. The amount is $60,065.83.
Make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Everything that they had there, everything's been cleaned up, and we've had problems in the past. That's why I was just
As
making
far
sure.
as I know, everything's good.
All right.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Rakes?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. The next item is a payout to CBRE. This is TIF number 6. This is for the years 2019, 2020, and 2021. It is the property on Ridgeland Avenue and Monee Manhattan Road. This is their first payout. The amount is $210,239.68. Once again, this comes strictly from the TIF and is not a village liability, but it's up for the board's review and consideration.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Rakes?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. The next item is a partial payout to Aries. This is for Industrial Drive Water Sanitary Project. The amount is $46,869.67.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Rakes?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. The next item is a bid award recommendation. This is with respect to Fireman's Park Infrastructure Construction Project. The recommendation is to Iroquois Paving Corporation. The amount's $434,965.21. It's up for the board's review and consideration.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I just want to say that with Iroquois being right here in our backyard, it's going to be so much easier than somebody from somewhere else. And also with the bid being, this was the better of the bids, correct?
Correct,
was the
it's the
best-
lowest. It's
lowest
40.
responsible bidder.
Yeah.
So I think that just is going to be awesome for us that we don't have to worry about it. They'll be right here.
And I wanted to point out, too, that Farnsworth actually had 14 companies bid on this, so that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, roll call, please.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Rakes?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Okay, moving to unfinished business. Item number 1, discussion approval of an ordinance regarding the variance on behalf of Rockland Oiler for the property located on Briar Lane, PIN number 211421334008. Oh.
I'll make that
Yeah.
motion. Not a motion. What do we?
If we may, Mayor,
Okay.
that might be a moot issue depending
Okay.
on executive session, so.
Okay. All right. Item number 2, discussion approval of an ordinance re the special use permit on behalf of Second Place Church for PIN number 2114291000300020. That's what I have.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Discussion?
There's a lot of discussion still. with
Yeah,
this.
we've had a lot, yeah.
Yeah. We've seen a lot of pomp and circumstance from each side, for and pro and con, but what it breaks down to myself personally is the ordinance and what that's what they're here for. And I just see some rather different things going on with this one that this is for just the phase one, just for the yurt and for the tool shed, correct?
Yes, sir. It's phase one only. And if a permit is issued, like every other permit, it's subject to compliance with all applicable rules and regulations, including business rules, building code, fire code. It's no different, but it's phase one only, sir.
And this is phase one, and as long as they are up to code, they can start work on this? So if the property isn't up to code at this point, they can't start until it is up to code, correct?
Well, up to code in respect also that our building department had to, and engineer, I'm assuming, had to review all the plans to make sure that they are in compliance with the code regulations, that it won't pose any hazard to the public. But that's where Jeff and Romy will come on board, and if they find something wrong, a permit won't be issued.
They have reviewed plans, or they have to review
They have to
plans?
review plans, sir.
Okay.
They haven't seen them yet, as far as I know.
I don't think any
Jeff
of us
has.
have seen plans.
They have to review all the plans, and we know how thorough Romy and Jeff are. But they'll make sure that it's in compliance with the building code.
All right, because we have a few things going on out there right now that, like the road and everything that's not theirs. It's the property owners, but there's Chip Road down there, and it's with the estate residential, it's supposed to be paved or concrete. We have the Conex, or the box that's out there, and then we have a bus that's out there on the grass. Would that constitute having to be up to code prior to, or should we ask Director Burris?
I will say this, Trustee Henson, I did, Second Place did send me the deed, so they are the owners of the property. What property exactly, it's pretty specific. With respect to the bus, I'm not sure about that. I would think Second Place would also tell us where it will be located, meaning the yurt. I think Jeff and Romy will ask the same questions, but the bus, I'm unaware of a bus out there.
So the special use is bypassing the actual main building. Usually you have a main building, and usually then you can put outbuildings on it. We're bypassing that, allowing them to put the outbuildings before the main structure then.
Well, we'll allow them to put up whatever they requested in the special use permit application. I know they have 3 phases. Right now, the first phase is the one being considered, and my understanding is the only building that's being contemplated in the near future would be the yurt. And it's not, if I may, it's not uncommon that permits are issued, whether it be here or other villages, subject to final review by building code, fire code, and building engineer.
Director Burris, do you have anything to add?
If you have any questions for me, but I'll just reiterate what the attorney said, that any special use, whatever it's approved for, whether it's a yurt or tool shed or whatever the phase one is, that's what we're gonna do the plan review. We're gonna expect the site plan, building department application, and we're gonna do the, again, plan review, and whatever else is on site that's not approved, then it can be there. So again, whatever the special use, it's being considered. If it's just a yurt or...
If I may address that, thanks,
Sure.
Romy. The ordinance right now says phase one, and phase one had 3 or 4 different buildings. I think with Second Place's presentation, we can amend that ordinance to say yurt only at this point in time. So if they build the yurt, they come in before Romy and Jeff, that's what they're gonna be, will be able to do. And they'll have to come back before the board when it comes to other type of buildings.
I believe it was a yurt and a tool shed, so I
Yes.
think then the tool shed will allow them then to get that
Yes.
container off the,
I mean,
Yeah,
a
you know.
yurt and a tool shed.
yes, just make sure we're,
No, I understand.
yeah.
So if you were to pass, if this was to pass tonight, you could put in there about the container and the bus would be a.
Well, sir, I would probably just amend it to say yurt and the tool shed. The bus is probably a different issue because it doesn't have anything to do with the special use permit. I would think our
But special use is allowed if they're up to code.
Pardon me?
The special use is allowed if they're up to code. The container and the bus is not up to code, nor is the road.
What?
Just,
And the way the ordinance is written is subject to building code and any other code of the Village of Monee. So if it's not pursuant to the code, then that'll have to be rectified before a permit is issued.
okay.
There is enough guidance, I think, and also protection for the village, that it will have to be done according to our code. And again, not to repeat myself, but Romy and his staff and, Jeff, they go through it with a fine-tooth comb. So I think there's enough guideline or protection for the village.
So if there's anything conflicting, that will be taken care of then,
Conflicting in respect to building?
of code violations.
Yes, sir. I mean, if there's an issue, it's got to be addressed by that applicant. That's why I try to indicate that it's subject to building code, and a permit is still subject to compliance with all other village codes, whether it be police, fire. A permit won't be issued if there's a violation. So it will be addressed.
So I think it's like
Thank you,
chicken and the eggs, or the cart and the horse, that we need to give them a special use permit, but we know, they know, as if we were issuing a special use permit for, let's just say, a sports bar in town or what have you. They, whether it's a church, school, or a sports bar, we have special use permits and we issue them all the time, of which Romy et al., reviews, and they're subject to all the same provisions and laws and things that are, that they have to abide by. So our job is to say that, yes, we agree with, what is written here, and issue them a special use permit so they can move forward with the whole project, following all of our right uses, guidelines, ordinances, and things that everybody is subject to in this village.
But as far as a sports bar, they would have the main bar constructed first before they build the volleyball court and everything else.
Okay.
They're doing it opposite here.
So let's just say a chicken coop. Let's just say chicken coop then. It's the same thing,
But that's why we're here for the variance. That's
Correct.
why we're here.
And
A
it's
special
a
use,
permanent
a special
structure.
use.
I feel it
Well-
sets an awfully good precedent for anything else in the future and anybody else's arguments.
And this is what, frankly, sets us apart, and this is a step in the right direction. Yes, this is something that the Village of Monee has ever done. That's why the need for a special use. So this is, why we're addressing it and readdressing it. They know, we know that, everything, all the provisions need to be upheld, but they can't start unless we say, let's just see how we can do this together.
If I can give an example, I believe
Please.
when Thornton's came in, and for that matter, I think Dr. Sheets, they came before the board on several occasions about what their request was. And I believe, if memory serves me correctly, we issued the permit subject to compliance, and the compliance was the paving, especially for Thornton's and their parking up front, because they had an issue with the parking. We took care of that. And the paving, we all know what happened with Dr. Sheets. We said, here's your permit, doctor, but get the paving done correctly. And the retention, remember him talking about the 100-year flood? We worked that out. And we said, here's your permit, sir, but the permit too can always be revoked. If that person's not in compliance with what we requested, you can have a permit be revoked. So, again, I believe there is.
Then I'm sure you and Director Burris and Farnsworth and everybody or what have you would do the due diligence and actually
yes,
put
sir.
that all in the paperwork.
And Jeff.
Yeah.
Jeff,
Forget
I meant,
Jeff.
Yeah, because the special use permit just gives our building department the authority, in effect, to move forward. The rest of the project gets treated like any other project. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's correct.
Subject to inspection, subject to, following codes and making sure that things are constructed properly.
Yep, site plan, building permit, and plan reviews, and making sure that this is what they abide by. So if it's a yurt, if it's a tool shed, that's what we're gonna check on. Engineering.
Another example would have been Lauren Buckmeyer's. I forgot, what's the name of it? Crow's Head? How we worked with them. And let's face it, from day one, he needed, and you know, he's doing a great job out there. But we said, here's your permit, sir, but you gotta do A, B, C, D. And hopefully he's up to D.
And there was a house on that property already. But,
Pardon me?
okay. And there was a house on that property
sir.
already. So, I mean, could you address the road, the illegal road that's there?
So as far as there's two driveways there, so it's my understanding it's not, the driveways are not on the Second Place Church's
Understood.
lot. So we're addressing that with the owner of the grindings that they put there.
And why is it
We stopped,
illegal?
we put a stop work order, and they're getting violations.
Why is it considered an illegal parking and driveway?
Well, I don't know about parking, but the driveway, because they have to submit, any work that you do to the property, you have to submit building permits. And grindings, they put grindings there, and they're not allowed.
It's supposed to be paved with the residential, the state residential or anything like that.
Right,
wouldn't
so they did not submit any permits, we put a stop work order on there.
Okay.
And then we issued violations. But it's my understanding, and from what we see, both driveways, the north and south, are on the other parcel.
Thank you.
But I understand it's gonna be like an easement and used by the south lot but it's not on their lot. That's my understanding.
But if and when it is your easement, it would have to be paved, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And an easement would have to be passed also,
Well,
right?
we're addressing the driveway with the other
First,
owner,
understood.
because
Take care of
Does
that
not,
first.
does not belong to.
First steps first. All right.
Right, but
Then, when did you address this with Second Place,
what's that?
the driveway issue that you just spoke of?
Well, we told them it has to be paved, you know, it's gotta be asphalt or concrete, it's gotta be impervious surface, and they let us know it's not ours, it's actually, it's in an easement part of the other property, but they would be allowed to use any driveway that's there.
How many other loopholes will we meet on this one? But, okay. Thank you very much, Director
No.
Burns. I appreciate it, unless anybody else has questions.
So it's allowed to use a driveway for another property. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, you know, it's an easement, I don't know what the understanding between the two, you know, owners, if they, you know, if you're an owner, you allow somebody else to come on your driveway? I don't know if that makes.
I kind of have that problem in my life right now, but there's a lot here. And the paperwork I was given today, it speaks on both sides of exactly what we're talking about. And emotionally, I have an answer, and to do the right thing, I have an answer. What, as long as what you said, Larry, that everything's gonna be up to code and in the right steps of ABC, I understand that how, John, you said the building was there, and for Crow's Head, is this the only building that's going there, or is just phase one, and we get, and I watched the presentation, and we're getting to the bigger building?
The main building, the church, or what have you, is going to be last, phase 4, when generally in regular order and in order to the paperwork, it's usually the first thing. They're asking for the special use to avert that and to start backwards, basically.
And the special use, excuse me, the building, the yurt,
Yes.
for its special use would then double as until the final phase is completed?
They would come in on phase 2 and phase 3, saying this is what we're looking to do, ladies and gentlemen. I would look at, almost like a PUD. That's what Lauren Buckmeyer was. You do A, B, and C, and so far he's done it. Eat the bone. He's got a permit. And he's not in there yet totally because he hasn't complied with, I believe, the fire code, but he still operates. So what, he can't,
But he operates legally because he makes that food outside.
absolutely.
So I just don't want to run into an issue down the line where we put up the wrong building first. I think that's kind of what Trustee Henson is speaking to at the same time.
Right, but to talk about like what was brought up earlier in terms of septic fields and building locations, as they get to each stage, and they come before us for the next, either an amendment to the special use or the next special use permit for that next one, that will be addressed at that point, because then they will have to have more definite plans. They will have to be able to lay out, here's how it's going to lay out, here's how it's going to look, so that then Ramian Building Services can then say, yes, that fits the codes. No, you've got to move the septic field here. You've got to have, if you're going to put a well, it's got to be over here. Just some examples. Right now, the special use permit is just for a yurt and a tool shed. So talking about where the septic field is going to be right now, yes, we need to be thinking about it, but it's not really very applicable to where they put the yurt.
I understand, and it makes 100%, it's clear. The point that Trustee Henson brought up was, are those other violations going to be rectified before
Well, if I may.
the special use is?
I see what you're saying. So if they are violations, I'm pretty sure they've already addressed it because they've been on the property and have had privy to that. So if you identified any or observed any kind of violations, they would squash this program. They would have addressed that or will address it. So I don't think that's going to hold it up because that could be rectified. Has any citations been issued since you took a tour of the property?
They've been issued to the owner to the south. Now, when we get the site plan from Second Place.
So Second Place has not been cited?
No, they have
Okay.
not. So when we get the site plan and the building permit, how are you gonna do the driving there and everything else? But, because I thought it was part of the list, items on the list, if I remember correctly, I don't remember how you guys presented bio, to make it like you're in the woods. So I don't know how that's gonna be, but whatever the special use is approved for, that's what we're gonna review. And we're gonna review based on our current codes. So if the current code says, hey, it's gotta be impervious surface, that's what we're gonna require. But the driveways that we address, it's with the other owner, because it's on the other lot. So it's two issues, but, the two lots are kind of connected.
Sure, they're joined, but
Correct.
the actual property owner is a different lot, different owner.
Correct.
With this bus that they're talking about that was on the property, is that a violation?
Yes.
Okay, what's the correct procedure for them to follow?
So
It's because it's drivable, so they need to take it out of there?
So they need to take it out of there unless it's approved here. And from what I understand, it's just a yurt. So, yeah, it
Okay.
has to be on an impervious surface, and it's not, and again,
Have we informed them of that?
I did walk the lot
Okay.
with Pastor Joe and Sarah, and, they showed me what they plan on doing. That's when we came about, okay, make the whole presentation. So, here's the whole plan, not knowing what, how the presentation is gonna be, submitted. But, yes, we did discuss that. Right now, you can't, and it's all started with the yurt, and then evolved from there, with the whole vision. I hope I'm not misspeaking on.
Also, with respect to the container, if you were to have at my house or what have you, I wanted to get one of them pods containers to store some stuff. If I'm not mistaken, you have to get a permit for 15 days.
Correct.
If you need some extra time, you can only get another permit for another 15 days.
Correct.
And then it has to be gone for a container on the property,
Yes,
correct?
and sometimes, residents come to us and they present a dire situation where, give us a little extra time, work with us here, and, you know, those are circumstances. But we did address other things that were on a property that they can't be there.
All right.
So their remedy for dissolving this, or not utilizing this container, is to build a shed. I guess Pastor Joe, DeCenzo, if you would, if you could step up.
And excuse me for 1 second, to speak on your point, Trustee Henson, the tool shed that was there prior.
It's not a tool shed, it's a container.
A container.
Yes.
But if you buy a house that doesn't have paved driveway, the non-paved driveway was there before, but it doesn't count after you change hands. You have to have everything up to code. So therefore, it doesn't matter if it was there for 50 years.
But it's not a house that you're buying
And
there.
it's not their driveway.
And-
It's still the code that says you can't have it there for any
They're
longer
going
than
in
30 days.
But the container
This
that's
is
on
the
the
problem we
property.
have in this village, is a lot of people don't want to understand and obey the codes, and my building service personnel are a little bit frustrated with such things as this and a whole lot of other things. It's the code, it's in black and white, it's what it says. If either approve the special use permit or don't, but these things are violations.
The code is for, people are not for the code is for people. So in the same way that a council said we work with different businesses to help them along in the process, is the same thing we'll do for second place. I want to enter for the record the different things that second place has been involved with or initiated over the years. This is just a back of the envelope.
If I may, this has nothing to do with the special service,
I'd
special
like to
unit.
speak, please.
Okay.
Thank you. Because I've sat here for, I don't know, about 15 minutes, I think. I think the church is about 12 years old?
14 in February.
14. So here's the things that second place has been involved with and/or initiated. Love Monee, a community cookout and concert, Monee area churches, combined service, food pantry, community garden, home improvements for needy residents. I've personally seen them rehab decks and ramps for people who needed that. They gathered a group of volunteers to put that together. 5K race. I think more than any volunteer organization in this town, any volunteer organization, that includes my church too, they have been very proactive in this town, making Monee a better place to live. There's never been any scandal or wrongdoing, any hints of that I know about. All they're doing here today is trying to do the correct thing, going by the code. Let's not forget what this is. This is a tent. They're asking to put up a tent. A yurt is a Mongolian tent, if I'm not mistaken. So I'll put my vote. I'm ready to vote on this myself. I know some other people may want to chime in here as well on the board, but we've gone through this, looked at this way and that way, up and down, sideways, left to right, inside out. I can find no problems with this. If there are code violations, if there's things that need to be corrected, I'm sure our code enforcement staff will do that. I have no doubt in my mind. They keep those things on track, but and I think I want to emphasize this. The code is to assist people, not to bludgeon them. That's all
I
I need to
agree.
say.
So what you're saying, Trustee Horn, is just because I'm a nice guy, I do stuff and everything like that, that I should automatically get things
No,
changed?
I'm not saying
That's
that.
what you just said.
No, I
They
did
have
not
done
say
great
that.
things for us.
No.
Great things for Monee. I
want
do
that-
not do that, say that at all, but the way you were saying is, hey, they did this, they did this, they did this, they did this, let's give it to them.
No, what I said.
That is my understanding of what you
Okay,
said.
well, I'm sorry you misunderstood me. I said I wanted that entered into the record.
Understood.
To understand how they have positively impacted this community.
They have positively.
Absolutely.
If I may go back to my question for
Sorry.
Pastor Joe DeCenzo.
I'm sorry, Mike.
Yes, no problem.
Trustee,
Yes.
I apologize.
Go ahead. So, since this bus has been brought up today, what are your intentions for the bus and also the container?
Whatever Romy says we need to do, we'll do.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And I was only
That's what I was
trying,
asking for.
I was only trying to understand that you were talking about the container and it needing to be removed, but they did not place it there. I understand they took possession of said container when they bought the property. I get that. I understand all of it. I don't know, Trustee Horn, that I would need a permit to put up a tent in my backyard, but if it's a permanent structure, I get it. It would need a permit. I understand. So Trustee Wilson, I apologize for getting in there. I just wanted to make sure I understood exactly what Trustee
And
Henson
that's
said.
part of the reason for the special permit request, is we had nothing in our ordinances that dealt with a structure like a yurt.
Right.
And that's what started the whole thing, to my understanding, of why we needed to start having this discussion.
And my total understanding as well, and the statements that I made before, is before the cart and the horse and the chicken and the egg. We have to start somewhere, whether you pick the chicken or you pick the egg. They need to proceed and they know what they need to do to proceed, but first of all, we have to grant them that special use. So they can comply with every ordinance.
And Joe's answer just told me what he plans to do, which is exactly what he has to, so.
I just want to make sure I remind everyone, we do have a first and a second, and just for the record, the ordinance will be corrected to just state for tool shed and yurt and not the garage, parks, playgrounds, and everything else.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. Here we go.
And that follows everything else that I believe Trustee Henson said, and I said, with any prior violations or,
Yes, sir.
thank you.
Right. Then with every faith that our building services, the entire staff will make sure it's done properly, done to code, and that goes for all the phases moving forward as well.
Thank you.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Henson?
No.
Trustee Rakis?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Okay, so this has passed. We have it on record as passing. At the next board meeting, we'll be able to give the ordinance number, since it'll be amended.
So how does that work?
I'm sorry, but the record should reflect that this ordinance was passed as amended to show yurt and a tool shed. And that's all changes I'll make in the new ordinance, but we don't have to take a vote on it again. It passed.
So can we
We'll just get an ordinance.
rather than just the structures? Can it just say phase one?
Well, it
I
does say
had phase one in
but-
there, but we want to limit that to yurt and
Yeah.
tool shed. But again, there won't be another vote necessary at the next board meeting.
And they can proceed with starting to get their plans together for
Yes,
building
sir.
services and move forward
Yes,
now.
sir.
Okay.
Okay, so it being amended, it would be 2042 with record of being amended.
Any new business? Open to the public non-agenda items. Okay, this evening, we will be going into executive session for item number 1, 5 ILCS 120/2C5, the purchase or lease of real property for the use of the public body, including meetings held for the purpose of discussing whether a particular parcel should be acquired with the following PIN number, 211421128003. Item number 2, 5 ILCS 120/2C5, the purchase or lease of real property for the use of the public body, including meetings held for the purpose of discussing whether a particular parcel should be acquired, PIN number 211421334008, and PIN number 211421334006. Item number 3, 5 ILCS 120/2C5, consideration of sale of real estate, PIN number 211421128001. Item number 4, 5 ILCS 120/2C11, pending litigation. Item number 5, 5 ILCS 120/2.6D, review of executive session minutes. May I please have a motion to adjourn regular session?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Rakes?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udress?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
7:46 PM.
Thank you. All right, may I please have a motion to reopen regular session?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Udress?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Here.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Rakes?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Thank you. Possible action to be taken after executive session. Item number 1, if I can have a motion, please, to accept the ordinance to purchase PIN number 211421128003.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Rakes?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udress?
Yes.
2043.
Then item number 2, which would be ordinance number 2, motion, please, for an ordinance authorizing the purchase of PIN number 211421334008 and 211421334006. And then that also ties in with the sale of PIN number 211421128001.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Rakes?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udress?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
2044.
And then may I have a consensus, please, to retain Dave Miller of Rockfusco and Connolly for the pending litigation?
Make that motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Rakes?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udress?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Thank you, Board. May I please have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Rakes?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udress?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Thank you, Board.
8:33 PM.